This is the Mike LiPetri Show. We're going to keep building. We're gonna keep growing. I'm not up to your level yet.
I don't know about that.
The Long Island tea.
The Long Island tea.
I got it. That's award winning. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you.
I mean, you should be excited what you're doing.
It is stuff pretty. That's expanding. We're working hard. You know, it's exhausting sometimes. You know what I mean? I'm like, we're working hard and we're doing a lot of things that are different than what people are expecting. You know, and used to. And so I think sometimes that people don't know how to approach that.
How many people are on your staff?
15.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You guys doing a lot. I mean, think about all that's generating.
It's crazy. I mean, we are literally, and with our small staff and our small budget,
crushing it.
My counterparts across the country are like, how do you do that?
Efficiency.
It's crazy. I mean, people that have like $20 million budgets are like, oh, we don't have time. We can't do a podcast. I'm like,
yes, you can.
I mean, I can.
Yeah.
If I can, you can. I don't know.
Exactly.
You know?
That's right.
Just depends on what your priorities are.
They don't have a Justine. That's why.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, you got to hire the right people.
I think Long Island has such superior talent, though. That's why I believe that firmly with work ethic, with sound. Are we rolling? Oh, we're ready to go. I love this.
Okay.
With work ethic, with just like determination, ambition, like I don't know what education.
Yeah.
I feel like we just hit a great point where we can recruit so many talented players that obviously Discover Long Island has before.
We've been very lucky. We've been very lucky to get the incredible team.
And then today, now we're going to be talking about the future of tourism on Long Island, opportunities and obstacles with Kristen Reynolds, the CEO of Discover Long Island and the host of our award-winning podcast, weekly podcast, The Long Island Tea. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, I'm just honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm honored. I'm the one. Are you kidding me? What you're doing for the Long Island economy? I mean, it's tremendous. So many people. I was very excited to have this episode with you because I wanted to talk about all that Long Island has to offer and all that you're doing to really draw that attention, to draw those crowds, not only building on or capitalizing on the Long Island population to do staycations, but then bringing others from all over the nation and the world to come here.
Yes. And in fact, it's a little bit flipped. So the main mission is really to bring people from outside of the region into Long Island because that's where you get the outside revenue. And I always say when visitors come to Long Island, they're taxed on where they eat, sleep, shop, transportation, everything, and they're happy to pay.
Yep.
They're doing it. They're like, they're begging to give you their money, and then they leave, and you don't have to educate them or fill their potholes or build libraries for them. It's just new money into the region. And that's why organizations like mine exist. That's why tourism promotion exists. It's not just to tell people how to have a good time. It's about the economic development and revenue. And then what we also do, because Long Islanders are really a unique market where Long Islanders love Long Island and we live in the best place ever. So of course we want to also talk to Long Islanders about how they can make the best use of, where we call home, which is great.
So let's talk about those numbers what Discover Long Island generates. So these tourists spend over $6 billion annually on Long Island. They generate $760 million in state and local tax revenue annually.
Yes.
Impacts 100,000 jobs.
Yes.
What else am I missing?
No, you said it. And but if you think about it, it is really amazing, and it's much more than most major metropolitan areas that are known for tourism. It's more than Dallas and Indianapolis and all these places that we have more of a tourism industry than they do. And a lot of people don't understand that, but we always talk about Long Island, right? How do we keep our taxes lower? How are we going to be sustainable? How are we going to grow in future generations? And the way to do that is to find outside revenue so that the tax burden isn't just on the locals. And I beg people every day. I'm like, help me help you. Yeah. I'm Jerry Maguire, right? I'm like, I'm your golden goose. I want to do this for future generations.
And I know you've been, like, some of the major projects that are ongoing with Long Island, like, what are something that's so close to you and your heart that you're just excited to see in Long Island to bring more visitors to us?
There is so much happening on Long Island right now that when I came to Long Island as a transplant 7 years ago, people said could never be done. I mean, if you think about it, the Welcome Center on the LIE wasn't open when I got here, right? And everyone's like, that'll never happen. UBS Arena will never happen. Grand Central Madison. We have so much amazing momentum happening right now. We are in the final stages of potentially having a funding mechanism for our very first convention center,
and that's
which is what I was going to talk to you about. I'm excited.
The convention center you have been talking about for years.
And everyone, I'll never forget when I first moved here, you could still comment on Newsday.
Yeah.
And one of the that's how long
ago.
And somebody commented, "You're not." I said, "We need a destination resort and we need a convention center." And someone said, "You're not in Scottsdale anymore, Dorothy." And I thought, people told me it couldn't be done, but I really, with the political will that we have here, and there are some really incredible visionary Long Island business leaders here that have so graciously embraced me and the ideas and the understanding of what tourism means to the region. And now we are in a place where we're very close to having our first ever convention center, which will change the face of the business community here.
Talk to us. How? Like, where is this going to be? What's it going to look like?
Yeah.
How is this going to be changing the makeup of Long Island?
This is my favorite topic.
Yes.
So, everyone's like, where would that even go? It wouldn't go anywhere. I say it would go at Ronkonkoma.
Okay.
Obviously. And the main reason it should go there is because of the transportation hub. Because, we as Long Islanders, we want more flights at Long Island MacArthur Airport, right? And as much as we want to go back and forth to Florida, and that's fun for us, that's not how airlines make money, is Long Islanders vacationing. So the way, if you just look at other markets and other best practices, the way you create new routes is a convention center brings in 3,000 to 5,000 business traveler attendees, and they book 1 to 3 years in advance. And these are the business travelers that come Monday through Friday. They're on expense accounts. So they're not looking at, want to get away fares. They're like, what's the best fare? I'm going to pay more. I'm a loyalty member. And you take that business on the books to the airlines and you say, I've got thousands of people guaranteed to come to this market from Chicago and Dallas and LA. And that's how you really create those new routes, because you have the demand. You create the demand, which then creates the reason for the routes. It's not the other way around.
Okay.
So that's one reason. The other reason is, Long Island tourism right now, that $6 billion, it's mostly leisure. It's people coming, and it's mostly New York City and the tri-state area, which is great, but that also creates a lot of traffic and a lot of day trippers and people that only come on the weekends in the summer. And this is a completely different business customer that we are ignoring right now. Every other destination is benefiting from this. You get business travelers that come and they spend on expense accounts, big money. They're going out to dinner. They're wining and dining. They're doing golf tournaments. They're doing give back programs to charitable organizations and legacy projects. They're doing team buildings. And the first thing a meeting planner asks is, when they have a meeting like that, is, who are your thought leaders locally? Because they don't want to pay for travel to get a bunch of panelists and speakers at the convention. So whatever industry is coming in, they're going to look to Long Island and say, who are the best, who are the leaders in this region? And we can then put our leaders on national stages against their peers and share like what Long Island is doing. And I think it's going to blow people's minds.
I think that's going to be excellent. Now, let's play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
In the post-pandemic world, are we still doing those conventions? Are we still having that high volume? Are the businesses and expenses? I mean, we have inflation now. Are they still doing that? Or is there a way that they're doing on a budget? Like, what am I missing something?
No, this is a good question. And I think there's a misconception out there right now, but I just came from a session this week with Tourism Economics. They're the forecasters. They're a subsidiary of Oxford Economics. Business travel is back. It's the number one growing era right now. It's the number one growing part of the industry. Business travel, and specifically bleisure. Because what people are doing now is it's called bleisure, and it's business and leisure. You're going to go. Your company's paying for the flight, so you're going to tack on to where you're going and say, look, I may as well experience what's in that area. It's the number one growing sector in the industry right now, so we're very much poised to take advantage of that.
And that's how we're kind of capturing that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday business, but maybe they'll stay that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Absolutely. When they come in for a convention, they fly in. They're usually contained in the convention center for several days. So again, you're not having a bunch of cars and traffic. And when they go out to places, you're looking at buses in groups. And again, it's big groups of people thinking about going out to the vineyards and doing tours. When conventions come, then you have local artists. They're going to want musicians to have, entertainment for their events. They're going to want florists. They're going to need dry cleaners to clean the linens. They're going to want local farms to provide the food. It trickles in ways that people really have no understanding of at this time. So I'm excited. I'm excited for Long Island to see what we've been missing for a long time.
And so now with this said, discover Long Island. This is where people will flock to. They go to your website. So how does Discover Long Island project a lot of what's happening on Long Island, the opportunities that are available for it, both for visitors and locals?
So we are a completely different organization post-pandemic that we were pre-pandemic. Pre-pandemic, we were really mostly just talking to those outside visitors through advertising and marketing. When we stopped doing all of that, we had to completely transition and say, we stopped all of our advertising, people weren't traveling, and everybody changed to digital, Zoom, podcasts, everyone started producing content. So we immediately jumped on that bandwagon, and we're now known in the industry nationwide as the content beasts of the industry because we jumped on it early. So we have 2 TikTok channels. We have over 10 different social media channels with an audience of over 10 million people,
That's
like
amazing.
Subscribers. And
it's incredible.
Yeah, it is great. And so it is a great way because we do talk a lot to the local audience now in a way that we never did, and a regional audience. And we talk more about storytelling, and we can share more information about the people of Long Island and really dig deeper than just an ad with a beach or a lighthouse on it. So for us, I think it's been a real silver lining coming out of the pandemic and how we do business. So, but we still do marketing, but we're much more than a marketing organization. A lot of what we do is that business travel. We're at major conventions. We're talking to meeting planners. We're saying if you have a small incentive group or if you're bringing a corporate group out, this is where you need to be. Off season, midweek, all of those things. International travel. International travel is a little bit slower to come back, kind of per your earlier question. But they do anticipate it to be back about 2025 in full swing. And think about it. We've got in 2025 the Ryder Cup coming.
Yep, that's
the Olympics of golf. I mean, it's in Rome before it comes here.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
In 2026, we have the USGA back at Shinnecock. And we're already booking rooms for those things.
Oh, wow.
So,
that's going to be excellent. And what are your thoughts about, so with this convention center, would there also be, can events be held there too at the convention center, or is it just meetings and like leisurely these business conferences?
No, it'll be a multi-purpose venue, and it can be also a bunch of our local businesses. Think about how many times we are all packed in at Crest Hollow, and we're like around that corner where you can't see the. I mean, Crest Hollow is a beautiful facility. I love Crest Hollow.
I can't be.
But you get behind that pillar, and you're like, I can't even see the stage.
Exactly, and then you go up this, and then even just going onto it, the stairs, you get a million people there. Yeah. It's like,
I mean, there's clearly a need, even from a local level, if you just have been to a meeting there. So, no, absolutely. Sports, a lot of gymnastics, a lot of, dance clubs. You can use TED Talks. You can have it for entertainment, charitable organizations, Rotaries, Lions clubs, all those things.
And with those talks you just said, like TED Talk, for example, does Discover Long Island reach out to these different industries, organizations saying, hey, come here?
Absolutely. So right now, the reason I know that, a lot of people say, oh, no one's going to come to Long Island for these meetings. Why would anybody come here? It's crazy. And I'm like, why wouldn't they? We're the home of Estee Lauder and Canon and 100 Flowers. We're here in Hauppauge, the second largest industrial park in the nation. Of course, people will come. But yes, it is exactly like we do reach out. Right now, we're not reaching out to a lot of these bigger groups because we don't have space.
Right.
And even without reaching out, we've turned away so far since we've been tracking $35 million in lost business of people that call us and don't know that we don't have the space and are interested in coming, and we have to say no. So
that must crush
think about when we're actually able to go out and let people know that we do have the space and compete with other destinations to lure that business here. It's going to be exciting, and we're ready to go.
So we have TikTok you're on with 10 billion subscribers.
Yes.
We have, what else?
So TikTok is great. I mean, we're Discover Long Island on TikTok, but we were early adapters enough on TikTok to also get Long Island, New York.
Oh.
So that's really something that no other destination in the U.S. has done, is get your destination name so that you don't have then some just 20-year-old out there representing you that, isn't really understanding how to drive that economic revenue.
Yes.
So when people look for Long Island, it's actually us. It's Discover Long Island. And that's fun because it reaches that younger audience that we want to keep here and make Long Island feel exciting and a place they want to stay and be. And then we're on Instagram and Pinterest. We have the podcast, Long Island Tea, where we spill the tea on living your best Long Island life.
I want to talk more about that momentarily because I want to hear exactly what that shows, the purpose of that show, what listeners can get from it, and what you're looking to have the listeners get from it.
Yeah, it's a very different show, and we won Innovation in Podcasting Award for our counterparts globally because most other destinations have a tourism podcast, and they'll get on there and you'll say, food trucks and museums and things to talk about. But we really wanted to go beyond people just looking for tourism information and reach an audience that was engaged with who we were as people, almost like a talk show. And what they're now calling it, and now a lot of other destinations are copying us. So in Myrtle Beach, you have Moms and Margaritas in Myrtle Beach. And a lot of people are doing it to reach our larger audience. We wanted to be like the Howard Stern show, where you listen because you want to listen. And then we sprinkle in all the things to do around Long Island. And we kind of subliminally tell you, because we're reaching our larger audience that way. We're actually listened to in 64 countries.
Wow.
We're not just listened to by people interested in Long Island tourism. And we do it, so it's called The Tea. We spill the tea.
Yeah.
And
so what's the latest one?
It's
latest
called
episode?
Branded Content. So we did the latest one. We did the Women's Month.
Yep.
And we had a great author of the Long Island women's book that wrote about the Long Island women's role in the suffrage movement, which was amazing. But we also then talked about the fact that the study, because we talk about celebrity. And we have anxiety, things that are giving you that. And also it's sponsored by Long Island Wine Country. So we drink Long Island wine every episode.
I love
And then we tell you about it. And it's been great. I had an email yesterday that someone said, by the way, I've been influenced. I want you to know I went out to the vineyards for the first time thanks to your podcast. And it was a hotel in Port Washington. And she said, also, I now carry Wolfer wines at my hotel because you guys talk about it so much. So that's our point, is it's subliminal. We're trying to let people know in a very fun and engaging way and get people all over the country to listen to us so that they'll think about Long Island in a way that they didn't before.
I think that's clever, and you must be honored to have other people try to duplicate, but it's often imitated, never duplicated, right?
Well, and it is hard because sometimes people see it and they're like, oh, that's just Kristen and Sharon, drinking wine and having fun. But we get on there and we start every episode with how you doing. Because, we're Long Island.
How you doing?
How you doing? And we talk about our lives. And we share a lot of personal stuff. And it's not easy to do. Like, the fact that Sharon's husband gave her a vacuum for Valentine's Day. And she was really not happy with that. And a lot of people can relate to that. And we talk about things. And sometimes people don't understand the concept of being like Kelly and Ryan or Hoda and Jenna, where you listen because you feel like you have a personal, emotional connection with that person. And that way, when we do tell them where they should go, what things they should do on the weekend, what products they should buy, they believe us. We have a dedicated listenership, and it's more authentic.
And you just mentioned it in passing, but branded content.
Yes.
Can you talk more about that when you're saying branded content, like exactly what that means to the viewers?
Branded entertainment. Yeah, I was calling it edutainment when we first started it, but now the industry has more of a term, branded entertainment. And so it's basically interesting, engaging content that people want to listen to, brought to you by Discover Long Island. And it's connected to your brand, but it's also not just about your brand.
Got it. Right?
So it's content that can relate to a lot of people. So some stuff we do, like TikTok and Instagram, we're out there with the masses. Pinterest, Facebook, Meta, we're out there talking to, you cast a wide net. But then there are also the things like the podcast, where it's a smaller audience, but they tune in every week and they hang on every word and they listen to what you say. And we actually have an Amazon page now connected to our podcast, where we put our favorite things up on Amazon and people can go and buy what we're telling them to buy.
Oh, I love that. So more people see, that's what I'm saying. And that's a way to connect with your audience in just a greater detail. Specifically, you should your co-host should put the vacuum on Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good suggestion. Maybe we'll do.
Put the vacuum on Amazon and say you could have this too for your loved one.
We do. We for Father's Day we'll put up our suggestions for a gift guide, and they're not it's not always things related to Long Island, but sometimes it is. And then we'll talk about the book about Long Island women's suffrage, and then we'll give one away to our listeners. We actually had a live remote at a vineyard one time, and we had a contest, and people entered to win. They had to tag a bunch of people, and we had a limo, one of our partners, pick them up at Ronkonkoma train station. They came from Brooklyn and all over. We didn't know if it was going to be successful at all. We just tried it, and we had people come and listen to us record at a vineyard, and it was amazing. They had the best time. These are an audience that we're building that now feel like they have a personal connection not only to us, but to Long Island.
Right, and that's so valuable in so many ways. So we talk about the opportunities. Now the obstacles. The obstacles to building this convention center obstacles to growing and bringing these, 35 million lost business that we had. What are those obstacles that we need to overcome?
I think the biggest obstacle, and I talk about it every day, I was talking about it this morning, and again, this is me being a transplant, I can tell you, and I've actually done studies to back this up, is that Long Island is the brand. And while that seems like no-brainer, one of the first things we get is when we're talking about promoting how we promote Long Island, we bring people here, and then they come to discover Long Island, and then we have all the information about all the things to do, and every museum, and every restaurant. Everybody that wants to be on there can be on there with your own landing page and your GPS coordinates and your specials and everything. But people will say, but what are you doing for my village, or this village, or that village, or this hamlet and that hamlet? And, it's really, or this county and that county. We want you to say our county names, or we want you to say this. And you can do that on the website, but from a content, from a branding,
it's too specific.
Outside of the Northeast region, people don't know what you're talking about. People know Long Island.
Outside of Long Island, people don't even know how to pronounce Patchogue.
Yeah, exactly. People on Long Island don't know. And I face that even with, our partners at I Love New York. I've talked to them about it, because if you watch the I Love New York commercials, they'll say Vanderbilt Museum, Centerport, New York. Bedell Cellars, Cutchogue, New York. And I say, no one knows where that is. You need to say Long Island. Long Island MacArthur Airport. Yes, it says Islip when you're on the thing. But it's really, as a community, I really think our biggest challenge is to remember that, a rising tide lifts all ships. And we are, as a community, especially from an economic development stance, Long Island, we succeed as Long Island.
I think that's great. The unity is something that is...
It's not easy.
It's not easy. That's very difficult. Coming from now it's ironic coming from a political person, but I think it's so critical as a tourist perspective, where now we have to have that tourism hat, and just recognizing it's about just bringing people here. And once they're on Long Island, then you can direct them, but you got to make sure it's attractive.
Exactly. And we're working on ways to do that, because I do understand that is important for our villages and our chambers and our towns. And so we're working on like a new app that is this brand new technology. So Discover Long Island is the inspiration that brings you here with the beautiful pictures and the sunsets and all that. But once you're here, you download the Discover Long Island app, and it almost works like almost like a Groupon, but not necessarily all discounts. And it uses geolocation to pull up all the businesses that are on our website wherever your phone is. So if no matter where you are, you can open the app and it'll say things near you.
Oh, excellent.
And because we do want to drive people into the local businesses and the local downtowns. I understand the need to do that, but to get them to Long Island first, we really have to understand that that's the brand.
So with building on that, you said that app, does it show the discounts as well? So if those restaurants and businesses are offering discounts, that will be shown. It's not a guarantee, but if they are, if they do have it, say there's like a special, like Tuesday night special, we do this, or Thursday night is that. That will come up.
It'll pop up. You can put your deal on the website, and it'll automatically populate the app with whatever deal or special you have. But if you don't have a special, like a lot of our businesses don't want to discount, and that's okay, and they'll still pop your business up, or your museum or your attraction, and let people know. And that really helps with some of the over-tourism problems we have on the East End. We're also looking to tackle that, because tourism, we're here for the residents, truly. I mean, if what we're doing is impacting our residents' lives negatively, then it's not worth it at all, right? So we want to raise tax revenue to keep our taxes lower, and we want to create a great quality of life and support the restaurants and attractions and all the things that we love to do, that they rely on visitors. But we don't want to overrun. So on the times that the North Fork is crazy with harvest, or when the South Fork is crazy in the summer, when this app, and what we can do is drive people to other areas of Long Island that do need and want those visitors for their local businesses.
That's awesome. That's going to be great. For those businesses that want to onboard with Discover Long Island, how do they contact you?
So if you go to discoverlongisland.com, we have a partnership page, and there's an application on there, and there's, members at discoverlongisland.com. But yeah, you can definitely reach us that way. And our partnership starts at $300 for the year. Wow. You get your own landing page. You can put any events. You can put any specials. And we do that. It takes us more money to onboard people, right, than it costs. But we want to be as inclusive as possible and make sure that everybody on Long Island feels like they're represented by us.
I think this is absolutely amazing what Discover Long Island is doing for us. We appreciate all your work immensely. I mean, and making sure that viewers, listeners, they got to tune in to that award-winning podcast.
Long Island Tea. I'll tell you all about Long Island wines.
Just spilling the tea of what's going on.
Yes.
But Long Island Tea, and that's available on what?
Anywhere you get your podcasts, and also on YouTube.
And YouTube as well.
Discover Long Island NY on YouTube. We have a great channel there. We also have Long Island TV, where another one of our camera crews, they go out and they hit another attraction every week and show you how to live your best Long Island life.
I think that's awesome.
Thanks.
See that? This is wonderful. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, and thanks for embracing me on Long Island. I love calling Long Island my home.
We appreciate having you. Thank you.